thank you for putting this together. This was a dream. When Sam said, well, that Pharrell was going to be in town, what could we do? I said, well, the best thing that we could do right now is to be able to tell you about how we can spread happiness and kindness through art. So thank you for agreeing to be part of this program. So Sam, tell us.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. Thank you, Pharrell, for being here, and Tootie. Thank you guys all for being here so much. If there's anything that we can say to you guys is that we're all in the same place at the same time for a reason. You guys are all so important to this mission. And this mission goes beyond what we ever thought that art could be. It's a combined effort of fine art, music, and culture to really change the world for humanity. And that's kind of what our art, Friends With You, is about. And I think it's a big reason why we work with Pharrell and in aid of this world. And you guys are just such an important part of it. I want you guys to all know, every single one of you is so important to the mission of human change, you know, like us changing our world. So that's a little something I'd like to say, but thank you so much for coming.
I mean, feel free to interject, but yeah, and again, I think that if there's anything that we can show you guys is by example, is that if you hold on to who you are right now, it is one of the best gifts you could give yourself and the rest of your family and everyone around you, you know? Like, try to remember who you are now, because if you hold on to that, it's kind of hard to explain, but there's something like so powerful about your optimism that somehow, like, when you are a grown-up, you're expected to like get rid of that and become like just functional. But the whimsy of who you kids are right now is your super strength and your superpower and your actual like Marvel like superpower, that if you hold on to that, it really could change not just your life but the people around you. You can make people around you happy by extending like just who you are, you know? So be happy with who you are, be happy with what you are, and make sure that no one could like tell you otherwise. I think I have a question like for Pharrell. I think that if you could even like just share with us a little bit about what you think that is happening with the kind of like art that you support and the kind of like art that you make yourself and that we make to some extent, that somehow imbues and kind of like embodies that optimistic kind of qualities that we're trying to move through culture in general. You know, you with your work, us, and just even with Bonnie, like just kind of like bringing like framework to this kind of like art. If there's anything that you could share with us that you see as a holding kind of like pattern or something that interests you in that kind of work.
That was a very complex question. But I think I follow. First of all, good morning, everyone. Thanks for having Friends With You today, and I'm happy to tag along, and no pun intended. But I think the answer to Turi's question is, I'm always interested in, bless you, I'm always interested in work that you actually experience. If, you know, a lot of work is just static, meaning when you see it, it doesn't really do anything but look good, and once you've seen it, you don't really need to necessarily see it or hear it or feel it again. I'm interested in the work that sticks with you. So the minute that you look at it, it does something to you. It makes you have a visceral reaction. And I think a lot of the work that they do as a collective, Sam and Turi, I think the work does something to you. And it usually makes you feel happiness, some sort of level of elation. And I've tried to do that in some of my work. I try to make sure that when people hear my songs, they feel something. It's not always happiness. There's a range of emotions, but I think that's what we have in common is we try to do work that has a kinesthetic property. What I mean by kinesthetic meaning something you feel. So it does more than just one thing. It not only looks or sounds or smells or tastes good, but it also feels good. I think that's what we have in common. Okay, cool.
I agree with you that experience is everything, you know, like, and that's why I think sound and music is so powerful. What's that? Okay, sorry, you guys can hear me? I feel that what you do is so powerful, what music does, and, you know, before we met you, like, you still are a legend to us, like me and Tootie, just how you made people feel, like, you created a whole vibe and sound. And I think it moved culture in such a major way that it allowed, like, you know, I think young men to be different. And I think creating like a different role for men in this world is an important thing. And I think we've talked about that. It's about like the range of emotions and having that, not just being just like a tough guy in this world, you know? And growing up out here, I don't know if you guys like, you know, feel that, but it's like, I feel that, you know, being like a young man or being a young person in this world can be very confusing, you know, and we're super grateful for that idea that music gives us this experience, this visceral, emotional thing. And that's all we've been trying to do with our artists, reaching into culture in a deeper way and impacting that. So we're forever grateful to you, as we tell you when we see you all the time, but just so you know, it's ongoing, you know, and I feel we're really able to move culture, you know, but it really is, and I say this not joking, maybe your parents have told you guys this, but this is like an imminent time for humanity. We really have this importance, like each one of you, if you realize it or not, are such an important person, and you have such this thing that Tootie was mentioning, that you affect all these other people in your lives. So if we can do like anything today, we're just 3-4 people here like on a stage, you know, like, but you guys are the activists, you know, you guys are the ones that will enact from this moment on your lives, these young lives that can do so much in the world. And that's all we're here as advocates of goodness and expressing this oneness, you know? Like, you may look at each other and you guys may look different from each other, but we're a unit. We're all in this room because we're supposed to be here. Like, there's no mistakes of where we are and what we are. And this life is so short and important that I just want you guys to realize like the power that you guys have, not just looking at us, because we look at Pharrell and be like, this is a legend to us, you know? And like we feel like, you know, it's just amazing to be here with you, so I don't mean to ramble.
Well, you could see how art has made such a big impact on all 3 lives here. Pharrell, if the students take something away from today's experience, what would you like them to do? What would you like them to think about, and how can art make that possible?
Well, I would just say a couple things. Number one, you know, today's Tuesday, correct? And some people will not have a good day today, and other people will have an amazing day today. You're in control. You have the ability to grab Tuesday by its horns and ride it into the sunset of like success. That's the first thing I would tell you. You're in control. You're in control. You guys know who LeBron James is? He was once your age. Do you guys know Steve Jobs? You're never going to believe this, but he too was once your age. But you know what? The difference is that you're you and they are them. What are you going to do at this age moving forward? You can do that. You can do what LeBron does, and you can be better. You can do what Michelle does, and you can be better. You can do what Steve Jobs did, and you can do better. Is that a surprise? When I told you that they were all once your age, you were like, oh, really? So now I'm asking you, will you guys grow up and do great things? Okay, because I'm telling you right now, art is what set us free. Art set us free. Art in itself is this epiphany that one has. The way that artist or that person expresses themselves, that's their art. That's their art. That's what you have the ability that's what gives you the ability to change your life, to change the trajectory of your life. Is the way that you respond to that idea, that epiphany. Now, what you could do is just leave it in your mind. Or you could exercise the willingness to find a way to express that art, and then you end up in exhibitions like what I just experienced. Picasso was once your age. Yeah. And I know you guys and girls are thinking, oh, why is he telling us something that we already know? Because I'm trying to get you to understand that he was in this position too. It's what he did with that Tuesday that makes the difference. So, I don't know if that resonates with you, but I want you to know I didn't have anyone I'm saying this incorrectly. I actually had teachers who saw the propensity in me, which is the potential. They saw little signs that I could do something, but I lived in Virginia. And the industry that I'm in didn't exist in Virginia at that time. It existed in New York City, it existed in Los Angeles, and all the other, more emerging, bigger first-tier markets. But my teachers, my music teachers, saw something in me, and they kept saying, we don't know where you're headed, but keep going that way. I too was once your age, and that's what my teachers were telling me. So I just want to make sure you guys and girls are listening to your teachers when they tell you that you have something. Because art can be, for you, what it is to me. Art, and namely, mostly music, but music has been the skeleton key that's opened every door in my life. Cool. And you can do this. You can do this far better than I ever could and we ever could. So just know this is the opportunity on this Tuesday to change the way you look at it, the way that you look at your life, the way that you look at your potential right now. On the other side of, bless you, on the other side of this Tuesday is a decision that can change your lives. It's all in what it is that you decide to do. I want to also say to you that it is not humanly possible to be happy every day. want to be very realistic about that. Trust me, I did a song and I saw so much happiness in the world, but then there were moments where like I realized people were not happy, and that made me sad, because it was like, okay, man, if you didn't have that song, like these are circumstances that would be hard on anyone. And that's when I learned a lesson that happiness is like it's a sport and it's a skill set. It's something that you have to work at. You know, it's just like humility, being humble. It's a sport and it's a skill set. It's a sport because you got to challenge yourself every day to be as humble as you can and to promote happiness. But it's a skill set because it's something that you actually work on. And when you find yourselves down, this is, you know, I know you guys were like, when I told you that Steve Jobs was once your age, you were like, oh, really? Well, you're probably going to have another one of those moments when I tell you that when you're really down, you will never believe what really, really, really works and what helps. And that is looking out for someone else. So when you're down and you can't get out of it, go do something nice for someone else. Or think about someone else that like really needs help or really needs assistance. And I'm just telling you, before you know it, you'll just be right back in the spirit of like happiness.
Oh, yeah.